Hello, and welcome back to the Lux Bride podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about everything that you need to be thinking of and including on your wedding website.
Yes, but first we're going to start with where in the world can you even build this website? Obviously the internet, right? So not to be a little bit sarcastic there, but this is where you're going for it. But the top places that we really like are the Knot, Wedding Wire, Minted, and Zola. And we will be including for the show notes all of the links to each of these sites, so that way you have them. But then Elisa's going to tell you what in the world the basics are that should go on that, because she knows this.
Yeah, so you need to have the similar basics as what your wedding invitations have. So you generate the correct date, the correct time, your ceremony location, that's the address, the reception location with address, both of the couple's first and last names as well.
Other really nice things to include on your website include any information about RSVPing, especially electronically, or even how to RSVP in general. So that way they know that there's a date of when they need to RSVP by, whether that is via mail or electronically. Other things like, are they attending? Is really great, obviously, but what type of meals are available? Even if you're doing buffet style, family style, plated, doesn't really matter, or even food truck, which is something that we'll be talking about, I'm sure, in a later episode. But whatever type of meal is available, so that way they can accommodate and be ready for that. One thing that I particularly like is having an itinerary there of especially just the ceremony, because that's a main part that people don't necessarily. They want to know what's going on, but they don't necessarily need like a program per se. And this can also be typically found on like the back of an invitation. So it's nice to have that information on a wedding website. Basically what we're trying to say is as much information as you can give them multiple times. So that way people are ideally not asking as many questions as possible. Elisa, would you agree with that?
Yes.
Other things that we really like to include on a wedding website, if you can, are the list of your wedding party people. So this is bridesmaids, groomsmen, groomspeople, brides people, just people who are going to be in your wedding party that are going to be standing up there with you, or ushers, things like that. It's really nice if you can include, obviously, a photo of them, and a little bio is nice, but I would almost say the photo is even better to have in that scenario. And then also if you want to include maybe your parents as well, so that way people know like, oh, okay, I am coming from one side of the family, I don't know the other side. It would be nice to know that somebody is the mother of the groom, etc.
Yeah, I like that too. I know some bridal party members will be like, some couples will be like, hey, just send me like a little fun blurb, like, what's something fun to know about you, that I can put on the wedding website. So it's less work for the couple and kind of a task for your bridal party. But if you want more than just a picture and a name, you could do that too. But yeah, I think a picture is really helpful.
Yeah. And then kind of going along with what I said earlier about having it at the very least an itinerary of the ceremony is just having a list of like the day of happenings or events for the weekend. So that way, like, people know like, okay, rehearsal is going to start at this time. The next day, like you might have hair and makeup starting, ceremony time, obviously. Dinner time is actually really, really great for people to have, because you want to make sure that people know when in the world they're going to be fed, or when cocktail hour is, drinks, etc. And then the very last thing that we would recommend of like nice things to include, and then we'll go into extras, that's Elisa's whole bit, is weather accommodations. So what can a guest be prepared for weather-wise? Are you going to have a completely outdoor ceremony in the middle of August where maybe they want some sunscreen and there might not be a lot of rain? Could it be in May, also outside, where they might need to be prepared for rain, etc.? Or is it in December when you might need to be prepared for snow? We have no idea. What can your guests be prepared for? And again, like, I know that this might seem a little bit obvious. You would be surprised the number of guests who don't think about this.
Yeah, they could just potentially think you're going to a venue, and until you say outside ceremony, they're going to think they're indoors. And you would hate for them to dress in like, really cute dress that might be really cold if you're in October, and not the right coat and not the right shoes in the grass. Those are things that guests usually want to know what to anticipate, and it can be surprising if they weren't expecting it. So
very surprising. Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. So next we're going to go into the extras. And really, I just like to say, like, the wedding website is truly for you to do communication. So people aren't asking you constant questions. And so we're just giving you all the things that you could potentially put on the wedding website for that reason, just to relax and be able to like check out the website. It's there. You can't lose it. You can just log on online. You're not going to lose it like your invitation. I almost said RSVP.
Well, same sometimes.
So yeah, same actually. So I just wanted to like also say, you know, why it's important. But some of the extras here are maybe highlighting the area. Some people will put a hotel room block, maybe a close bar and restaurant. If they're making a weekend out of it, I do think it's fun to be like, hey, here's some things that are really fun about this city and what we like to do when we visit it. And maybe they might check it out. If they come on a Friday and they're not included at your rehearsal or rehearsal dinner, like that's fun for them to know what you like and they can explore it. And if they come like earlier or they stay later, then they have that to explore an adventure as well. It's helpful because you're not used to the area, or just for them to be like, you know, a weekend planned by you kind of vibes for them.
Yeah, I love that.
Another thing is your wedding registry. You don't have to have a wedding registry. I know it's very alternative nowadays to not have one and people are hoping for cash or money. I will tell you that sometimes when you don't have a wedding registry, people will just like gift you random things that they think that you need and you don't. So having a basic wedding registry can be helpful. I know some people have done honeymoon registries. So the next thing is anything else you want included. Maybe it's about the story of how you met, your story about how you got engaged, just the story of you two. Maybe it's just quirky, fun things like your favorite food and drinks. Be whatever you want. Something fun for you to express your personality to your guests. And it's also a great area where you can share your engagement pictures because you don't really get to like broadcast them very much. So put them on Facebook and Instagram, or also put them on your wedding website. I think it's really cute to see that and to have for them to look at and get excited about for your wedding day. The other things that we want you to consider is possibly putting the information of your day of coordinator, your wedding planner, or your venue coordinator. If there's any concern or hazards, or somebody wants that person to contact, right now with COVID, that's extremely important. Besides that, they might also need it for in case of emergency or extreme allergies. Maybe there's a really extreme food allergy and they're really concerned about it. So they want the coordinator or the venue coordinator to have like a preparedness or like they have an EpiPen they want you to handle. I know it sounds really weird, but people have different extremities that they need to make sure they have discussed and need that important contact emergency kind of person to talk about with on the facilities. So those are just some things. And maybe they want to plan a surprise for you as the bride and groom, and that coordinator or planner is the person they need to coordinate it with. So it's kind of the pros of having that done. Parking directions and a map of the venue can be super helpful. A lot of times people just have the address, so guests can just simply put it in their Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever you use. But it can be helpful for visual, just because if there's parking that's kind of confusing, they can kind of look at that, picture like the layout of the space. Maybe that helps them more of like the roads that they need to pay attention to. Sometimes maps don't take you exactly where you need to. It takes you to the building, but you don't know, like, you know, building has 4 sides or more if it's many buildings kind of connected of where they need to exactly go for the entrance or parking. So that can be really helpful. So there's no confusion.
I'd actually recommend like too, even taking a screenshot of like the map of the venue and then putting that into Canva and putting like arrows or stuff that people need.
Totally. So it looks really nice, really clean, but you can copy and paste it all computer, electronic. I love that idea. That's a fantastic idea.
Thanks.
I love it. And it is also really helpful if it is kind of a harder marked area to find, to have like a yard sign or a standing A-frame on the concrete. So it stands out to guests and they know they're in the right spot. You just want to make sure that there's no confusion or frustration, like make it as easy for your guests as possible for them to enjoy themselves, because they start frustrated just in the beginning. Like that's going to have them kind of like a little bit ruffled. Just say their feathers are a little ruffled and they're just going to be a little saucy possibly till they like calm down and can relax again.
Yes, I like how you call them saucy. That was good.
Saucy. And the very last thing is attire for guests. This is kind of in connection again with weather. We kind of spoke about it, but you know, if you want it to be a black tie, say that. If you want it to be cocktail casual, say that. If you want it to be, if you just put casual, expect to be okay with like khaki casual, or some people might, or jeans and a button up top. So this is where you can specify what kind of formality you are expecting of the event from your guests. And then also, you know, it's important if it's outside, maybe you can always make a suggestion. Maybe like having a warm coat and good walking shoes is helpful. Those are things that guests might not think about. They just want to dress up cute, but then they regret wearing heels and they're sinking in the grass. So those are just different things to think about or to share with your guests.
All right, so that's all we have for wedding websites. As per usual, if there's anything that you think that we've forgotten or would love more information on, just ask us. We love talking about it. Next week, we're talking about a wedding timeline checklist. So I'm going to be coming at it from a photography standpoint. Elise is going to be coming at it from like a vendor standpoint and coordination for all of that kind of stuff. And it'll be a little bit complicated, but we're going to have it all written down as well to make life ideally a little bit easy. So we will talk to you all next week.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye.